Hey guys, how you doing? So, I was made aware of a video a few days ago from a beer tuber known as Tasting Niche. I'm sure pretty much everybody knows who Tasting Niche is. Pretty decent female beer tuber. We definitely need more female beer tubers, of course, but yeah, she's pretty decent. I'm not a big fan of hers or anything like that. Not really a fan of her style. That's just me being honest about it. But I mean, she's good for what she does. But I'm not here to trash her. I'm just saying I was made aware of a video she made recently saying, "What the fuck is a beer tuber?" And actually, I have no real qualms with that video. Honestly, it was pretty decent. It pretty much summed up what a beer tuber was anyway. 4 or 5 years ago, when Beertube was still a thing. And that sort of brings me to the point of this video, asking the question that I sort of asked myself, at this point, what the fuck is Beertube? And I think the answer is it's not really a thing anymore. I can remember, I'm not some great historian, by the way, of Beertube. I'm not sitting there writing down volumes of text to be shelved in some Library of Alexandria or whatever, which was burnt down anyway, so all that stuff is lost. I think I got the right one. Wasn't the Library of Alexandria? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking about it, and you know, I don't think there really is a beer tube anymore. It's gotten way too big. 4 or 5 years ago, you could have made the argument, back when it was still a handful of people. You know, there was maybe 24 at the most beer tubers, really active ones. But now there's just tons and tons. There's probably countless. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like literally hundreds out there, beer reviewers on your YouTube. And a lot of them I just, I don't know about. There's all of these little fractured communities of, little groups of 4 or 5 people here, 4 or 5 people there, who don't communicate between each other all that much. And that's sort of what Beertube has evolved into, this sort of fractured thing where it's no longer really an online community anymore. It's more now just a resource for people to watch, people who are not, necessarily part of the community as it was. Any random person now can go onto YouTube and find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of beer reviews. And that's a great thing, don't get me wrong. But this idea that there's a sense of community anymore, not really. Maybe in your small group of friends. Like, for instance, I'm in a small group of like-minded individuals who are or were beer reviewers, like El Bonorano, Maxwell Star. We have that little group together, and we hang out all the time. But we don't really necessarily interact with a lot of the other little groups of people outside. Like, you got JJ Davin and some of the people he hangs out with. They're kind of a separate group. You've got Jay Terrio and his little island of misfit toys floating off in the distance there somewhere, and not really. You don't seem to see them hang out with too many people outside of that little group. There are Facebook groups that are fairly active, but those are even more kind of antisocial than YouTube itself. A lot of vitriol on Facebook groups. That's why when I first started joining them, I was quickly off them, because a lot of them were just full of bullshit, full of drama, full of haters, full of snobs, full of assholes. And a lot of that stuff is kind of spilled out into YouTube now, I find, as well. And I'm sure there's probably some people who are going to be watching this accusing me of being one of those people, and, fuck you. But yeah, there's really no Beertube anymore. The term was first coined years ago by Beertube. He's long gone. A lot of the originals that started when I was around, right around the same time I started, long gone. You know, they just sort of lost the interest, or they had other things more important in their lives to do, or they had health reasons, all kinds of, whole slew of different things. A lot of it, mostly though, is people just losing interest in community, and I can sort of see why. There's this little seedy underbelly of Beertube. You got, and I sort of saw the cracks in it a few years back, and it was sort of what spiraled me down to the point where I just decided, yeah, I don't want to do beer reviews on YouTube anymore. I don't want to be part of any community that might be left. Started with Simon, of course, Real Ale Guide, piece of garbage. Stole beer from the Urban Viking. Oh, how soon we all forget that, right? A lot of people want to forget that and have buried it, and they continued to interact with Simon after that like nothing happened. Although this guy stole beer, and when he got called out on it, he tried to have people silenced. He had videos taken down. He had people banned, comments deleted, all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, what the fuck is that? Is that the kind of person you want in your Beertube community? I don't think so. And I mean, I wasn't trying to make super big waves or anything, but I was trying to warn people that, hey, this is something this guy did, and he should be called out for it, and he should be reprimanded for it in some fashion. A simple apology to Dave, the Urban Viking, and he sort of gave him an apology, half-assed one, I guess. But an apology to the Master of Hoppets and Jakob, who brought the beer to Real Ale Guide in good faith that he was going to transport it to the Urban Viking. They never got a fucking apology, did they? Not from what I can recall. No, they were the guys that were getting silenced. They were making comments under his videos saying, "This is bullshit. Why did you do that, Simon?" And Simon just... But hey, I guess all is forgiven, all is forgotten for some people. Not for me, though. I don't let things like that go. That was a scumbag move, and Simon Martin will forever be a scumbag in my eyes for doing that. And yeah. And oh, there he is going on again about Real Ale Guide. Will you ever shut up about him? It's the last I'm ever going to talk about him, guys, because this is sort of my official goodbye to Beertube. So that was sort of the first thing. After that, you started seeing the cracks. You started seeing more and more seedy things going on. People reneging on beer trades. People just being assholes. Around this time, there was more of the Facebook shit going on. Lots of fights and feuds on Facebook. Lots of bullying from people like fucking Dr. Dave, the beer professor, who's a piece of shit. Still a piece of shit. Doesn't matter if his quote-unquote victims forgive and forget and are hanging out with him again. He's still a fucking bully, and he's still a piece of shit, and he's still a fucking coward. He's still the guy who has banned people from his channel, blocked comments, etc., 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 when he got called out on his shit. Don't forget that either. Don't forget what kind of asshole that guy really is. Honestly, I think he's in early stage dementia of some sort. I've seen the signs before, believe me. I had a grandparent in my family who showed a lot of the same signs, so yeah. Not a doctor, of course, but he might want to get himself checked out, I'm just saying. So yeah, I see more and more shit like that, and I just finally got tired of it. Anything else I want to say? I mean, there was a time when the community, when it was very small, could sort of police itself. And I think any online community should be able to and should diligently police itself to some degree. I mean, they sort of ostracized Chad9976 when he turned out to be just kind of a dickbag personality-wise. People just stopped talking to him, for the most part. And he just sort of faded away. Begrudgingly, of course. But yeah, man, it's kind of disappointing, but I mean, this is the sort of shit that happens. You see all these people disappear. Another piece of garbage. How about Greg's beer reviews? Oh, a big happy rural smiling guy, Greg. Big happy grandpa Santa Claus looking motherfucker. Not really that nice of a guy. He did one of those scumbaggy things where he bought a lot of his subs. He's even openly admitted to doing this. Bragged about it even, basically. Using subscription services to get subs. And what did that gain him? See, Greg always sort of came off to me as a person who didn't get a fucking clue about what Beertube was when Beertube was a thing. It was just a place for people of like-minded interests to get together and share their thoughts on beer. That's about it. There was no real money-making venture here. I mean, I think probably the most successful guy on Beertube is Chris Stelz, and he ain't no fucking millionaire. He's not PewDiePie, guys. And I can goddamn guarantee you Greg's sure to fucking... He's hawking fucking BB barflies and t-shirts and mugs and all kinds of other bullshit. And I mean, that's fine. He wants to do that shit, but... He's kind of selling a brand. He's kind of selling an image, isn't he? Really? And... He's a guy who really doesn't take criticism very well either. Like, the Wiseman Committee, they really got under his fucking skin for quite a while. This guy was freaking out on chats and stuff in Facebook. Didn't know what he was going to do. So scared that their downvoting was going to get his videos taken down or some bullshit like that. Like, the guy had no clue what the fuck was going on. And he just turned to be kind of a cunt, really. I mean, that guy's had blow-ups in some of his videos where he just get aggravated over the smallest shit. So yeah, I just sort of got tired of stuff like that, man. I just got tired. I got tired of sitting here and not saying anything about it, too. That's the thing. It was the most frustrating thing. I just sort of, you know, for the longest time, I just wanted to get along with everybody. I was kind of hoping I could, but there's just far too many assholes creeping in, and they're allowed to be prevalent in the community. They're allowed to keep on being assholes. I mean, for what Simon Martin did, nobody should be fucking talking to him on YouTube anymore. But he's still going. And people who have told me, yeah, that was really garbage what Simon did. Good video, Lee. You were right to go after him and stuff, and I'm going to unsub and unfriend and not talk to him anymore. A lot of those people never did that. A lot of people who didn't want to make waves, didn't want to stick their fucking heads out for some stupid reason, as if, you know, it was going to negatively affect them or something. I don't know. I just saw a lot of... and some of these people were perfectly nice people, and I'm not trying to fault them necessarily. Sure, if they didn't want to make waves, they didn't want to make waves, I guess. But I think a lot of it was just sort of cowardness, honestly. Just kind of, oh, I still want to be associated with Simon for some fucking reason. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is really rambling and stuff. I should probably presented this with bullet points that I could read for you guys and all this shit. Make some sort of convincing argument, but I'm not even really trying to make a convincing argument. I was just trying to work through it here, even kind of live on camera. What the fuck is Beertube anymore? My answer, there is no Beertube. It's not a thing. There are small little communities of beer reviewers on YouTube. That's it. There's no big happy family. Sure, you'll find plenty of nice people. I'm not saying that, but there's just so much distance. Everybody's a little island onto themselves at this point. And that's the way I see it. And I've been here since the beginning of the fucking thing. I mean, there was a handful of beer reviewers on YouTube before me, but really I was here for the start of the thing. I'm not saying I started the fucking thing. I'm not going to sit here and give my usual joke about being king of Beertube. If anyone ever took that fucking seriously, by the way. I was just being ironic, being sarcastic. I know that's lost on a lot of fucking dullards out there, but But yeah, I just saw too much good things ruined by bad people and allowed to be ruined by weak people. And yeah, it's sad to say. It's unfortunate because I had a lot of really good times